Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things,
the podcast.
I'm Macy.
And I'm Naomi.
And we're two professional counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
And we believe laughter is the best medicine.
Join us.
Dive in. Cheers.
Hi. How are you?
I am well. Cheers. We're doing beer tonight. I think it's because it's October. It's beer season.
I got a peanut butter milk stout nitro. Quite good.
I have the same thing as last time because it was still in my fridge. The Lucille India Pale Ale from, I think, Seattle. No, Georgetown. I don't know where that is.
I have no idea where that is.
I don't know. If I had my glasses on, I could say, but it's pretty good. I don't like it as much as that Bodhisattva one. I think that's my favorite IPA of the moment.
That's pretty good. So, hey you.
Have you been watching Squid Game?
I watched that a while ago.
Okay,
I was one of the OG watchers before it became top news.
I just finished it 2 nights ago.
Great.
It's changed my life.
It's really good.
Like, I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
Like, everything seems boring if it's not to the death.
That was my thing is I really hope the US doesn't remake it. 2, I really hope they don't come out with a second season because the shock is gone now.
I think it's set up for a second season though.
I'm sure it is. And if
okay, spoilers.
We'll see.
Earmuffs, people, if you haven't watched it yet, but
yeah,
I think the cop is alive.
Oh, yeah.
Because there really wasn't any investigation wrap up.
That's true.
And they didn't show him actually dead. They showed him shot and falling in the water, which, you can survive that.
Wait a minute. I thought they showed him and the brother at the very end in the mirror together, cleaning up.
What?
Did you miss
Cobb brother?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought the cop and his brother, the bad guy, were washing up in the washroom towards the end, and they were both there, like washing blood off of themselves. But it left it in a weird hanging place, and I could be wrong.
I thought he was just having like a guilt flash.
Maybe
seeing his brother, but maybe his brother was really there. But
maybe I could have seen that completely wrong. Okay, yeah. So there's wiggle room for sure.
Yeah, I mean everything, like my whole outlook on life is totally changed.
I didn't like his hair color at the end. That was very K-pop, which is fine. I like some K-pop.
They're actually K, so that's okay. It's okay to be K when you're K.
Yes,
but it's not okay to be KKK. That's totally different.
That's just wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean everything I'm looking at, I'm like, if this was to the death, it'd be much more enjoyable. It could be anything.
Staff meetings,
grocery shopping, get to the front of the line. How important is it?
Costco deathmatch.
Yeah, make that intersection light before it turns red.
Ooh, that's
everything matters a little bit more. It's a little more weight to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't take it lightly.
Yeah. What was your favorite game?
My favorite one. Let's see here. I kind of like the tug of war one.
That was the most intense for me.
Yeah, because it all freaks me out. But yeah.
Yeah, that was the most intense.
I like their strategy in that. You actually got to see them use something to one up somebody. I like that.
Yeah, I liked that too. And I thought my least favorite one was the stepping stones one.
Oh, at the very end.
Yeah, because I don't know. It was too far away from the actual children's game, I felt.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of became its own thing.
Yeah, it was its own thing, where the others were actually the
distinct
children's game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But overall, yeah.
They had to have some way for the crazy woman to grab him and pull him down after he slighted her.
I had a love-hate relationship with her.
Oh, I hated her so much.
I hated her, but then at times I'm like, oh yeah, I could relate.
That doesn't surprise me at all, actually, but
like
her personality was quite grinding.
It was, yes. But wasn't there a few moments when you're kind of like, oh, yeah, I could see myself
Not even a little bit
doing that. Really?
Not even a little bit. No.
Not even the bathroom humping?
No.
Oh,
definitely not.
I could see myself doing something like that. In the name of strategy,
Yeah, but she was like fully like I think she actually liked him. And that was part of why she felt so slighted by him.
Yeah, I think that part was disappointing. I would have liked it better if she was just straight up.
If it was all game, yeah.
Yeah. That would have been more me.
Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, we could actually do a whole topic just on Squid Game. It is fucking disturbing.
It was very disturbing. I did like the gosh, what's it called? The freeze one. What's that called at the very beginning?
The red light, green light.
Oh yeah, red light, green. Yeah.
Remember we used to play that in roller derby?
Yeah, yeah. I was fairly good at that. It's all about being able to stop and stay balanced.
Now, don't you think since Squid Game,
you will stay low?
You'll take that more seriously next time.
I took it very seriously.
But if it was life and death, like you would be killed, I think it would be a different approach.
I mean, probably would have played it a little safer because I'm sure there was times when you try to get the most or you hope that they don't see you. But if you know that it's going to be seen, then you probably wouldn't make risky choices.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's a more complicated game than it seems because you can't just go super fast because then you have more of a risk of not being able to freeze.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go too slow and cautious, you're not going to cross that finish line.
Yeah. You have to think of the back end and the front end.
Wow, and this is like life.
It's deep. And that's what I think I enjoyed about it is it showed how child's games have so much potential. I mean, but that's why I don't want to see a US version because I think it'll suck.
Ew, why do you think there's going to be a US version?
Because it hit #1 and somebody wants to make money off of that. Like it'll be like Foursquare and wall ball or volleyball. Not volleyball, sorry. What's it? The one that spins. I wasn't really cool enough to
Tetherball?
Tetherball. I wasn't one of the cool kids that played a lot of tetherball, but there were kids that did
play a lot of tetherball, but I was fucking badass at Foursquare and wall ball.
I mean, I played some Foursquare in my day, but
tetherball is more for like the little kids, like up to 3rd grade. And then once you were a bigger kid and you went to the other yard, there was no tetherball. It was like
a yard. Are you sure you weren't in prison?
I may have been in prison. Now that you say
it. Sounds right. Got some wall ball, some racquetball in there for you.
Some squash. Some shuttlecock.
No idea what that is, but it sounds very inappropriate.
It's a sport.
I just remember wanting to play soccer really bad. And then I like jumped into one game once and ran across the field once and this isn't my thing. It's a lot.
I did all the sports. I was so all in with everything.
I did discus.
I fucking love dodgeball. And that was back in the day when there weren't like all the safety things.
There were no safety things and I didn't. I got hurt. I got hurt a lot.
Each other, just peg people.
I'm not good. I'm not
hard as you could.
Throw.
The only thing that was off limits was the head. That was it. Like everything else was fair game, and you could. I mean, this was the strategy.
So many times.
Well, there was. That's unfortunate.
There's too much going on at once for any PE teacher to rein anything in.
So the real strategy was get someone when they're running and clip them just at the back of the heel so they fall.
Wow.
It pulls them off their feet.
Now imagine this. When you clip them, the floor opens up and they onto spikes.
Yes.
Yeah. So actually the toughest game I ever played was playing dodgeball with the derby team when we went to the trampoline park and we were doing it on the trampolines. And okay. And I got hit by Ida. I think this was like my 1st or 2nd year because I was fairly new, maybe like 2nd or 3rd. But Ida hit me and I fell, and other people like jumped to try to get the ball and landed on top of me, and I dislocated my shoulder. And I just remember like going in quick like shock and not feeling or hearing anything, and all of a sudden someone else landed and I think shoved it right back in, and then it was like really painful. I didn't say anything.
It's weird. There's no whining in roller derby.
I know, like looking back, I'm like, I really should have let someone know that, but I was just like, oh, that was painful. But then like I was like, oh, I'll just watch now. And then I went home.
Here's the twisted thing about Ida. She's a nurse, dedicated her life to healing people, but is the most terrifying psychopath.
I just remember her
competitive sports
coming at me.
No, I have many memories of her coming at me, happy as hell.
Oh yeah, she's always like a smile, like a
holding back
smile on her face.
Everything's 110%.
Yeah, it makes, so I'm really competitive, but when you see her coming at you with that confidence and like just pure joy about what she's going to do
about hurting people,
it makes you take a step back and say, like, reevaluate things. Like, how committed to this am I?
I've seen her injure people and they're laying on the ground and her standing over them and just cackling at their misfortune.
Oh, I love her so much because she is super nice and like very willing to help people, but like don't take her for granted.
She's not going to pull punches.
She will eat you.
She will.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay, should I start my thingy?
Yeah, I mean, may as well, or else we're just going to chit chat for the whole podcast.
We don't see each other often enough. We have it all pent up.
Yes.
So this is a topic for you, Macy. Let me put on my glasses.
Great.
I'm going to talk a little bit, because it's October, about the origins of Halloween.
Ooh.
For
very
you.
Nice.
Because you did a spooky topic last time.
I did.
So I thought, I should do a spooky topic.
You should. And I didn't pick a spooky topic. I mean, it's spooky, but it's not Halloween spooky.
This is specifically Halloween.
This is creepy crawler spooky.
So our next Halloween, it's a Sunday this year, which makes it like not as fun for partying and trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Do you remember like last year, there was all these parents trying to change it to like a Friday all the time or a Saturday, just so their kids wouldn't be like roaming the streets on a school night? I say boo to you. This is not to you. I mean, when you learn this, it's like, this is not a thing that it's been like co-opted for like kids and stuff, but that's not the heart of it. It is
no. And actually I saw something yesterday about how other countries view Halloween and fall, and like they were asking, it was like a Q&A board, and they had questions like, do Americans really celebrate Halloween for a whole month? Don't they know it's only a day? And other people were like, they spend so much money on decorations. I hope they get to use those costumes more than once, which we usually don't. You switch it up every year. And
yeah. Are you going to dress up this year?
I will be in Spokane. I don't know what I dress up for. I live on a dead end street next to the train tracks. Nobody drops their children off on my street.
No, I get either 0 or the most like 2 trick-or-treaters, but I still get a giant ass thing of candy because I don't, even if one person shows up, I don't want to disappoint them. That's
very nice. Yeah. I used to be all in, like I decorated. I did that for many years. And that fell away. That's my decorations did. They're expensive to restock up on.
They really are. Well, the original Halloween, the origins can be found with the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. Now, here's the thing about these Irish words. You look at them and you think you're going to be stumbling over rocks to try to get this thing out of your mouth. But then if you actually hear how it's pronounced, it's like a lovely flowing stream. So it's very challenging, these words. You have to actually like hear
it first.
So if I said this word how it's spelled, it looks like Samhain, but it's Samhain. So it's like very,
so it's
like
very
lovely
fluid.
and yes, like the tickle of a feather on your cheek.
It's very visual.
So the Celts lived 2,000 years ago, mostly in the area that is now Ireland, the UK, and northern France. And they celebrated their new year on November 1st. So this was a time to welcome the harvest and usher in the dark half of the year.
Ooh.
And during this time, it was considered to be a thin place. So remember we talked
about thin places and the dog and the bridge.
Yeah, so that was another thin place. So this is like a thin time, I guess you'd say.
Oh.
Where the barriers between the physical world and the spirit world break down. And so there's more interaction between people that are alive and people that are in the other world.
Do you think that has another kind of link with like Cinco or Day of the Dead?
Day of the Dead. Well, that I think it's similar in the honoring of ancestors, and
with
yeah,
the
like
thin space because they come to take the offerings, right?
Yeah, I think we should make US Halloween more like that because we don't really have anything that honors
there's like
the dead.
No real culture attached to most American Halloween celebrations.
No, and I think we should have something where
I think so.
We honor ancestors, honor the dead.
I'm teaching a lifespan development class, and we're talking about middle age in the US and how we have such high rates of fear of death and dying at this age, versus other cultures or countries who tend to embrace death or dying in some ways or have some other kind of view or perspective of it. So I think it'd be great for development too.
Yeah, I mean, I think we put people on the ground, and a lot of the times, you might have like that annual trip to the cemetery or something like that. Mm-hmm. But, I really try with my kids to talk about people that have died. I feel like that's how you keep their memory alive. Yeah, I think they're alive as long as you keep telling stories. Because I'm thinking like, who's going to keep that up? Like, are my kids going to tell stories of people?
Or do you just fade away?
How is that going to be passed on? Like, I don't know who lived in my family like 5 generations ago.
That's like
I don't know their names. I don't know anything.
The Disney movie Coco.
Oh my God, I sobbed uncontrollably.
So good. But that was kind of the concept, right? Like that if you get forgotten, you don't continue even in the spirit world.
Exactly. So I think it's important to just keep talking about that, even though it might be painful for some.
But like hurt can be healthy.
Well, and I think, like let's experience that together as a family.
Yeah, and remember the good things, or even things that you think somebody would have enjoyed, like talk about them then, bring them into it.
You know what I'm going to do this Halloween? I'm going to talk about those who have gone before. And kind of bring it back to its roots.
I'll do that too.
This isn't all candy corn and Disney princesses.
Oh.
Look at us changing the world.
2
of us at a time.
2 of us at a time and a few DD
Yes. So the Celts thought like the otherworldly spirits might, be mischievous, cause trouble, or damage crops. But their presence might also make it easier to predict about the future. So that's tie into your last topic, Nostradamus.
Yeah.
And so when, you have such a dependence on the natural world, which is very unpredictable, trying to find some sense of control over it, especially heading into a long, cold, dark winter, is very important. So this was kind of like that boundary that like, okay, we're going from our hot summer to this scary, dark, unpredictable time. So let's make the most of it. So the Druids built huge sacred bonfires, and people would gather and do rituals like burning crops or burning animals as sacrifices to the deities. And during the celebration, the Celts might wear costumes, which were like animal skins and animal heads, and they might try to tell each other's fortunes. So the Samhain was the most significant of the 4 quarterly fire festivals. So they were in line with like the equinoxes and the solstice.
Wait, the fire festival? That's also been a topic. Different?
Different spelling, Fire. Less of a disaster.
Okay. Checking.
So these fire festivals were aligned with those changes in season.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they made sure everyone had good food and sleeping arrangements.
Yeah, so you had like your spring, your summer. So this was like halfway in between fall and winter. It was like that halfway point.
Mm-hmm.
So after the harvest work was completed, the people would join the Druid priests to light a community fire using a wheel that would cause friction and spark flames. This was like a huge bonfire. And the leaving their homes to come to this, they would let their hearth fires go out, which you know, you kind of always keep it going.
Yeah, or else
in the winter.
Cold.
Yeah, so it would go out while they're away, but participants would take a bit of the flame from this big communal fire back to their home to relight the hearth.
We like that.
Yeah,
it's like the community then go and you get a piece of that.
Yes. So some documents mention 6 days of drinking alcohol to excess, typically mead or beer. Cheers. Along with gluttonous feasts. Yeah, we're starting it.
Dude, I'm all about gluttonous feasts.
Me too.
Put it in front of me.
Yesterday I was in a training that didn't break for lunch till 12:30, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
No, like if that's the case, you need to feed me early or give me snacks.
So because that barrier between the worlds, you know, was crossable during Samhain, the Celts would prepare offerings that were left outside villages and fields for fairies, or, and this is one of those words, it's pronounced shay, but it's spelled Sidhs. So SIDS, you would think, but it's pronounced shay. See how that's like a lovely breeze in the summer going through the grass. Not like it looks like you're just gonna like fall on your face. It's not that. It's skipping versus falling. So there were some specific monsters associated with the mythology surrounding Samhain.
Tell me about monsters.
Including a shape-shifting creature called a puka that receives harvest offerings from the field. So this is typically seen as a dark, sleek horse with a long, wild, flowing mane and glowing golden eyes.
Scary.
So there's a couple others. Lady Gwyn, a headless woman dressed in white who chases night wanderers and was accompanied by a black pig.
Ooh.
And then there was the Dullahan, who sometimes appeared as a headless men on horses who carried their heads.
Like the headless horseman type thing, right?
Exactly like the headless horseman. And then they would like turn their heads this way and that to like see where they were going.
See?
Yeah.
See, like I feel like these things need to be brought back. Like any of this would scare the shit out of anybody. Like let's bring these back versus like I dressed as a cheerleader.
A sexy cheerleader. It's always sexy.
Sexy nurse, sexy cheerleader,
sexy teacher,
sexy zombies, sexy like no.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Like if you're not if you feel like you have to try this hard right now, then
I think some people like take that one day of the year to like be able to show their alter ego or a different side of themselves.
Just like get into cosplay. I don't know.
Exactly.
Find an avenue. I don't know.
Find an avenue.
I feel like Halloween is either for cultural, spiritual, and or children.
I agree.
Make it appropriate with good proper
I think
murder.
Less about the kids. I think if we're going to involve kids, let's involve them in the heart of it, like the ancestor piece.
Yeah. I agree.
So as the Middle Ages, progressed, the celebrations began to, change, evolve. And bonfires known as, oh, this is one of those words, but I think it's pronounced shenanigans. It's spelled nothing like that.
That sounds great, though. I like
So
shenanigans.
these were more personal Samhain fires near the farms, and these became a tradition to protect families from fairies and witches. So I guess fairies are bad in this culture.
I mean, I've seen some weird, scary movies where like the fairies were evil and scary. So I could imagine that probably came from somewhere.
Yeah, this is not a Tinkerbell type fairy or a what was that rainforest movie? I think Robin Williams was the fairy or something.
What?
I don't remember that movie.
Where Robin Williams is a fairy?
I think he was a fairy.
Are you talking about?
It was like a rainforest movie. It was like in the 90s. Early 90s, mid 90s.
I'm a Robin Williams fan. This is going to bother me.
Look up Robin Williams rainforest fairy movie.
I am. Wait,
but that was like another example of like that positive fairy image. Friendly fairy.
Fairy, really?
Yeah.
Fairy tale theater?
No. It's something with rainforests. It was like one of those message movies.
Oh, Ferngully. It's a cartoon.
Ferngully.
I love Ferngully. I have it on VHS and I've seen it a million times.
Isn't like, Robin Williams the fairy?
Yeah, it's not a fairy. He's a bat.
Oh, is there a fairy in
there? My name is Batty.
There is a fucking fairy in that movie.
Yeah,
there is.
But it's not Robin Williams.
You know how I
know this very clearly?
Because my poor older son, when he was little, watched this movie and really loved it. And I don't know if I should share
that's a great movie. I'll back
I'm gonna share it. Fuck it. So his dad like was making fun of him for liking this movie.
So good.
It was like, why are you like a fairy movie? And then Skylar was like very defensive and self-righteous, as he should be. And he was like, it's a man fairy. Like,
well, there were men like there were men and female fairies. There were
like
both.
He needed to justify, which he didn't need to justify his love of this movie that had fairies. But
yeah, like one of them was like
he held his ground.
One was like a normal dude who got turned into a fairy. So I mean, good it for normalized, Skylar. Very normalized dude fairies.
Good for Skylar.
And totally talked a long time ago about how we're destroying everything in nature. It's really the gist of it.
Yes.
We learned nothing.
In Wales, men might toss burning wood at each other in a game.
Oh.
Sounds like Squid Game.
That does.
So children would play games to entertain the dead, while adults might update the dead on the past year's news.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The doors and windows might be left open for the dead to come in and eat cakes that had been left for him.
Wonderful. See, like if I thought all of this was going to happen for me, like I would look forward to death and dying much more.
You get to eat cake.
Like if I felt like my family was going to do all these things to remember me, like, I don't know, at least it even makes me like feel good living to expect that.
And the part that's wrong about our culture is we make it such a scary, unknown thing.
Well, we make it,
there's nothing like, what is there after? Nothing.
Well, and it makes it so like, okay, you get to grieve for the amount of time your PTO allows, if you have it. And
3 days, sometimes
3 days.
Good luck.
And then you come back and you drop it.
You're expected to move on.
Yeah, where like other cultures will have like a red armband to show that they're in mourning, so people will come up to them and give condolences intentionally.
The Jewish death tradition is actually really good. I really didn't go through it entirely until my great aunt died.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you're still in shock, you're in grief, and right away, like that person needs to be in the ground within 2 days.
Yeah.
So it's like there's not all this planning of a funeral
where it's like
and it
weeks.
Feels really fast, but it's like no. And then there's specific guidelines. All these specific things need to happen. And then right away you start that grieving process.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like a very close relative, you sit on the floor for your mourning. You cover your mirrors, like you're kind of forced to go through it. And I think it
Mhm.
like moves you through it
Yeah.
better in a healthier way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I found it very comforting that there was like guidelines around it all.
Mhm.
Like there was a right way to do things and wrong. Like I didn't have to think a lot about it. And all these like old people like came out of the woodwork from the synagogue and were like kind of setting it all up. It was very comforting and nice.
Like having, yeah, like a community around you.
Yeah, like just like doing it all. Like
Well,
they showed up with food, they like did all these things, they
and I
planned
think
this
that's
and that.
so nice to have like outside community people, because often what I see like over and over again is it's family fighting family about how this is going to be done, how, what pictures to use, who gets the ashes. Like it becomes a family fight, causing even more stress and strain. I like the idea of having like a third party coordinate those pieces.
Well, and the fact that they need to be buried in such a very, very fast amount of time, you don't have time to bicker about that shit.
Yeah. Just,
it's the most you can do to figure out what you're going to wear.
yeah.
Okay. So then now comes Christianity.
Okay.
Starts coming into these pagan communities.
As it does.
Church leaders tried to reframe Samhain as a Christian celebration. And that was something that was kind of done with Christmas and some other things too. It's like, people, instead of trying to do away with these practices, which they would try and it wasn't successful, it's like, well, let's put a Christian spin on everything.
Mm-hmm. You mean steal it?
Co-opt it, reframe it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So the first attempt was by Pope Boniface in the 5th century. So at first he tried to move the celebration to May 13th and specified it as a day celebrating saints and martyrs, but that didn't stop the fire festivals. And then in the 9th century, Pope Gregory moved the celebration back to the time of the fire festivals, but renamed it as All Saints Day or All Hallows Day on November 1st. So the night before, October 31st, is All Hallows Eve. Gotcha. So that's where the name of Halloween comes from. It's like a different version of All Hallows Eve. So neither of these new holidays, because they also added All Souls Day on November 2nd, neither of these new holidays did away with the pagan aspects of the celebration. So, and then a lot of the practices still are around today, like trick-or-treating, costumes, spirits, scary stuff. It still exists, and it's really just pretty well understood now that the church was trying to replace the Celtic Festival of the Dead with a related church-sanctioned holiday. And Samhain, in its like original sort of form, I mean, I'm sure they don't sacrifice animals, is still celebrated every year today by pagans and Wiccans. Let's briefly discuss the Irish Potato Famine.
Yes, let's do that.
This was also known as the Great Hunger, and it began in 1845 when a fungus-like organism called P. infestans spread rapidly through Ireland.
I hate P. infestans.
I hate them too. The infestation ruined about half of the potato crop of the year and about 3/4 of the crop over the next 7 years. So that's most of it. And what made this even worse is Ireland was still expected to do their output to like England, for example. And England did apologize for this fairly recently. So people are starving and they're still having
to do their exports.
Their potato exports. So let's see. So this obviously had a catastrophic impact on Ireland and its population. And before it ended in 1852, the potato famine resulted in the death of 1 million Irish people.
Wow.
From starvation and other related complications. That is fucking shocking. I had no idea it was so impactful. I mean, I've heard of that, but I didn't really
I've never
understand
heard the
what it was.
tolls. Yeah.
So At least another million were forced to leave their homeland as refugees, and 500,000 immigrated to the US.
Mm-hmm.
And the Irish immigrants helped make Halloween popular here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I believe they were the second largest ethnic group of the time there. So I just wanted to expand on one Halloween tradition, the jack-o'-lantern.
Yes, please do.
So
I have no idea where that shit comes from.
AKA how Irish immigrants brought the Halloween tradition of carving pumpkins to America.
Oh, okay.
And I got this information from the Irish Times. So did you know that it originally was not a pumpkin?
No.
Because they don't have pumpkins in Ireland.
I was about to say, I didn't know that either, that they didn't have
I'm going to show you this picture of it.
Yeah.
Was originally
Do it.
Turnips. And I think
Turnips?
A carved turnip looks way fucking scarier than a carved pumpkin.
Oh, that is terrifying. Oh my gosh.
Terrifying, right?
That so much. I'm gonna have nightmares. That's almost worse than ET.
I think these are way scarier than pumpkins. I think we should also bring back the tradition of carving turnips instead. So yeah, because pumpkins, actually, I learned in my research, pumpkins come from South America.
Really?
Yes. So the word jack-o'-lantern or jack-o'-the-lantern initially referred to the phenomenon of ignis fatuus, which were flickering marsh lights, or are, that appear over bogs and can often lead travelers astray.
Ooh.
So it was another name for this phenomenon. So it was also called, the jack-o'-lantern was also called a will-o'-the-wisp or will-o'-wisp. And so these were sentient, small, floating blue flames seen by travelers at night, like over bogs and marshes, like moving around like this.
They call floaty.
Floaty, isn't that spooky?
Like a ghost.
They were said to be cool to the touch and move with the gait of a horse.
Oh, okay.
And so other names for this was hinky punk, which I liked.
Oh. Hinky punk?
Yes. So it could lure travelers in. They might become lost or, encounter some misfortune, perhaps, in a swamp or bog. And in literature, a will-o'-the-wisp is used metaphorically as a hope or goal that leads one on, but is impossible to reach.
Ooh. So you're just endlessly reaching out. It's like chasing the dragon, right?
Yes. Which I think might mean heroin also.
It does. Yeah,
okay.
That was what I was referencing.
Okay. So, you might find a hidden treasure if you follow this. You might find a watery grave.
Ooh.
So these blue lights were considered like tricksters or restless spirits or malevolent beings, just depending on the culture the lore comes from. So there's mythology around these lights, like all over. It's kind of cool. One possible scientific explanation is that these lights may be spontaneous combustion of swamp gas. So like farts, swamp farts.
Swamp farts.
Yeah. So the byproduct of decomposing vegetation. And methane does burn with a blue flame, apparently. I've never tried to light my farts.
I've never have either. No.
I would be way afraid of burning my butthole.
Yeah, there's just too many valuables in that region.
There's too many. I'd be afraid I'd actually do an in instead of an out, and then I'm fucked. Like I've singed my butt canal.
Do you butt inhale?
I don't know. I would just be afraid. I would just be afraid.
Does your butt go aghast?
I don't know, but maybe
sucking in the flame.
It does, and it's not worth the risk.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it sounds dangerous.
It sounds dangerous, right? So here's the legend of Jack-o'-lantern, also known as Stingy Jack.
Ooh.
In the 18th century, our hero Jack, or Stingy Jack, was said to be a mean-spirited blacksmith who tricked the devil and in return was given an ember from hell to light his lantern. An article in the 1836 edition of the Dublin Penny Journal explores the myth in detail. So the author, when traveling with his talkative uncle through a dark night, is confronted by the phenomenon. His uncle tells the tale of Jack of the Lantern, showing his pity for this cursed figure doomed to wander with his lantern. If you knew the sufferings of that forsaken creature since the time the poor soul was doomed to wander with a lantern in his hand on this cold earth, without rest for his foot or shelter for his head, until the day of judgment, oh, it'd soften the heart of stone to see him as I once did, the poor old Dunnan, his fleet blistered and bleeding, his pawnings all flying about him, and the rains of heaven beating on his old white head. That's my best attempt at Irish talk.
That was my favorite.
We know I'm very bad at any kind of language. I mean, I'm bad at English. And that's my best chance. Okay. So
that was great.
The story recounted, and I don't mean to insult any Irish people. Like,
she's just honestly bad at it. She was honest. She was trying so hard to be good.
I'm so fucking bad at languages. The story recounted by the uncle. So it starts with Jack, who's known as being like mean and like bad natured. He does something nice. He helps an old man by the roadside. And then the old man transforms into an angel. And he grants Jack 3 wishes. So here's what Jack wishes for. He wishes that anyone who sits in his chair, or anyone who plucks a bough from his sycamore tree, or who attempts to borrow his cobbling tools would be stuck to the spot, which I think means killed. So the angel's very disappointed.
Like very petty, yeah.
And Jack, and he grants his wishes because I guess you have to.
Yeah.
But
the genie in the bottle rule.
Yeah. And then Jack is barred from heaven after that.
Oh.
So since barred from heaven, that means you go to hell. Right? There's really
I would assume. Choices. Yeah.
There's like
it's all I've heard of.
A left turn and a right turn, up turn and a down turn.
Mm-hmm.
But when the devil sends messengers to claim him, they are tricked by Jack's false hospitality because of those wishes.
Ooh. Okay.
And so there's no happy ending for Jack. So he's barred from heaven and hell, and he wanders the earth alone.
So he's out there wandering.
Yes. So purgatory, I guess, right? Limbo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So this old time custom eventually turned into the jack-o'-lanterns. And so the first reference to that was in 1886, and a Canadian news report said, the old time custom of keeping up Halloween was not forgotten last night by the youngsters of the city. There was a great sacrifice of pumpkins from which to make transparent heads and face, lighted up by the unfailing 2 inches of tallow candle. So originally, jack-o'-lantern was this character, which came from the name of these lights, and then it evolved to mean the lantern that he's carrying with that ember from hell that he's forced to carry.
Gotcha. Which then goes into the pumpkin
through time to purgatory. Yeah, for the ends of time, barred from heaven and hell. So that's my Halloween origin story.
Oh, I like it. That's great. I'm going to talk a little bit about some end of time stuff too.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you a picture first.
Okay.
And this picture is going to be what I'm going to talk about today. And This little guy. This little guy right here. Let me share. Okay. We are going to talk today.
Oh no. What the hell is that?
About tardigrades. Have you heard of tardigrades?
I don't. I feel like I've heard of them, but I don't know a lot about them.
Also known as water bears or moss piglets.
I've heard water bears, but
Yes.
It doesn't even look real up close. It looks like a robotic fabric thing.
So what we see through the microscope is much more of a cellular version. So I think they do imaging that puts a layover so you can see what they look like.
How big is that in real life?
Microscopic.
Okay. So I wouldn't be able to see that with the naked eye.
No, but they do have, you see like the little tunnel mouth there.
That's what it looks like.
And they have these little curly claws.
It looks man-made. That snout thing looks man-made.
Doesn't it? It's so perfect, right?
It looks
like
plastic.
Such a perfect circle. Okay, I'm going to share another photo just so you can really get. Here's another image.
Ooh.
See the perfect circle?
It kind of looks like a turnip.
A little bit like a turnip, yeah. It's little feetsies.
I could see pulling that sucker out of the earth.
Yeah, right? And here's one in blue.
Oh.
So
that one looks like the Star Wars Cantina character.
And here's one that's kind of been like mocked up on a computer.
Is that a space water bear?
Space water bear.
Cosmic water bear?
Cosmic water bear for sure. Absolutely. Okay, let me close those. Okay. Sorry, I have to. Oh, there we go. I figure I have to stop sharing. There we go. Okay. So
you muted me. I unmuted myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was button pressing. Okay. So we're going to talk about tardigrades, and they very much have a lot to do with end times as well.
How? What's the link?
I will tell you the link. First, tardigrades are amazing and also really disturbing because they can do what most things can't. And again, I'll go into detail. So you don't know much about them?
No.
Okay, I'm excited. These are
fill my head with knowledge.
First of all, they're like super cute with their little tubby bodies. They're like lots of rolls. They're about 0.5 millimeter long. They can actually dry out for years and then be revived with literally no damage to them whatsoever.
Oh, it's just add water.
Just add water. They can also endure extreme heat and cold, which I'll talk about. That would normally kill anything else. And they can withstand radiation in space.
Whoa.
Okay, so we're going to talk about some of these things a little bit more. So the first reason why these things are pretty amazing. So first of all, they're basically just a head. Like scientists have been trying to figure out like what is the head, what is the butt on this thing?
So it's all a head?
Yeah, I mean, basically the head is all of it.
Is that better than being all butt?
Yeah, I would think so. I would rather be all head than all butt.
Okay.
I don't know. And if I'm forced to come up with an answer.
You're forced to choose.
So all tardigrades have plump, compact bodies with 4 leg segments, each with a sport of clawed limbs and a stubby head, even though it's like all of it. But the front end of it has a toothy mouthy ring. And their body is really just basically a giant head. That's from a 2016 Journal of Cell Biology. So who knows what their body really does. At some point in the evolutionary past, tardigrades lost several genes that were linked to the development of body segments. So along with that, they lost body parts that had a thorax and abdomen. So they had more, but evolutionarily dropped those parts. They didn't need them. Right?
I like that.
So it's like hard to say that like one end's a head when actually we know that that's evolved off.
So is it like both? Is it like
it's just like
feeding
all of their units are within
exiting or whatever that word is?
It's just all there. I mean, it does kind of poopy out the end if that's how we want to phrase that.
Oh, it doesn't all come out that mouth thing. Okay.
I was
wondering if it was in in and out at the same time. Does that close, that thing, or do they just look like this all the time?
I think they just look like this all the time.
It's kind of like a sex doll.
The tardigrade, the sex doll. I have not heard it called that yet until now. Okay, so
my mind is always in the gutter.
Yes,
100% of the time.
So the next cool thing about these things is that they lay eggs topped with grasping spaghetti, is what that's called. So tardigrades can live really anywhere on Earth where there's water. And a new species was actually recently discovered in a parking lot in Japan.
Oh, so they are like anywhere.
Anywhere.
They're not like in the ocean only.
No, literally anywhere. There's more than 1,000 known species of tardigrades. So like there's a lot of different variations. The newest one, Macrobiotis shanakias, became the 168th species from Japan. Tardigrades are often found in moss, and the new species turned up in a moss sample that study's lead authors. So basically, that study that they found was actually brought to them by just a person who found tardigrades in moss in the parking lot in Japan.
That's so interesting. I mean, I wouldn't even know what I'm looking for.
I mean, they are microscopic, so you had to have been like, I mean, they'd be so small. I mean,
like what is a millimeter? What else is a millimeter wide?
I don't know. Look it up.
I'm gonna
tell me. So the oddest thing about the tardigrade was not really that it was in a parking lot, but that its eggs were topped with wiggly spaghetti-like tendrils, and these noodle appendages actually help the eggs attach to surfaces after the tardigrade leaves them. So it helps the baby stick on to surfaces after the mama leaves.
It's
mama data.
It's about the thickness of a credit card.
Okay. Yeah. So you might be able to see it.
I mean, if you just carry it around like a little
one of those miniature microscope,
like a monocle microscope, you'd always be ready to investigate puddles.
I feel like I always need one of those on me.
I do now.
So these little weirdos can withstand intense heat and freezing cold. So hardy tardigrades can survive really punishing conditions. So lethal to most things. So 300 degrees Fahrenheit is hot, and they can survive that.
Wow.
And as low as minus 328 degrees Fahrenheit.
They're hardy little suckers.
Dude, hardcore little guys. They do this by expelling all the water from their body. So they like push all their water out, which we don't do as people. But I feel like it's a skill we probably should look into.
Retain water.
Remember how you told, I remember at one derby practice, you were like, we're too, dependent
addicted
on water.
To water. Yeah. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
I see people at work with these water bottles that I swear to God are as big as Stella.
Like a giant canteen.
Why do you need that much? You're sitting at your desk in air conditioning. Like, tell me why you need that much water.
Well, I think there's a lot of like media around how much water people should have, like that they're not healthy if they don't have enough, but I haven't died yet.
I hardly drink that much water and I'm fine.
Yes. So, I mean, you're right on. I mean, you may as well just call that, the tardigrade model.
I'm like going to.
You should. So they push it all out and they retract their little stubby limbs into a dried out ball. And they kind of go into the suspended animation known as a ton, TUN, ton.
Oh.
You suck it all in. When danger goes away or, things warm up or cool down, whatever, they rehydrate and return to normal.
Oh, I love this model.
With really no ill effects at all. And one scientist, like they had frozen them and it was years that they kept them frozen, then unfroze them. One of them like just started going right into, humping another one right away. Like, it was fine.
Hump. I was wondering how they reproduce.
Yeah. Yeah. So
there's male, female.
Well,
like they hump.
I think they just, I feel like I need to look more into their reproducing, but from what it looked like to me was that all of them could
How do you
egglets.
sex a water bear? Is it like sexing a guinea pig?
How to sex? Hold on.
I used to have to sex my guinea pigs.
I'm looking this up because I feel like it's worth looking up. We finally have a footage of a tardigrade mating.
Oh.
Okay. Tardigrades don't need any help in this weird department. The tiny creatures, also known as water bears, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So when it comes to mating, researchers knew that some water bear species were bisexual.
Oh.
Something that's not uncommon in the animal world or human world. And it was suspected that fertilization happened outside of the body. But on the whole, their sex lives have remained pretty mysterious. That's probably why I hadn't found anything about that.
Interesting.
So a team of researchers from the Natural History Museum in Gorlitz, Germany, finally filmed the process, which you can see below. Oh my goodness. Okay, it may not look like much, but the male in the video is ejecting his semen under the female's skin. But trust us, things get weird.
Under the skin?
I'm going to...
Just anywhere, or is there like a...
Don't you worry. I'm going to show you this video so we can watch it together.
So interesting.
Are you ready?
I bet you didn't realize we'd be discussing water bear sex when you picked this topic.
Actually, not at all. But are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's watch this.
Okay. My guess is females present there, males on top in the back right hand corner.
Yeah.
Okay. He's wrapped around her. I see.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like a spooning situation.
Oh, but look at like her underbelly.
I think that's where it went in. Yeah. Oh, did you see her just put her head back?
Yeah.
I think she felt that.
Yeah. Okay.
That was kind of like humans.
I'm gonna back that up here really quick.
Back that up. That's what she's doing.
Yeah, because look, she went, wow.
Yeah. Wow. She's like,
definitely felt that. She's like, there was insertion.
Yeah. Wow.
For sure insertion.
So it's not in any particular place. It's just under the skin kind of anywhere.
Yeah. It sounds like, because again, like when you see them in that film where it's like more cellular, you can see how they just kind of in there.
So is it like eggs? I mean, it's not like you're going to have another water bear. Like you're not going to birth a water bear. It's like eggs probably.
No. From what I read, I did actually read about that. They are actually like, there's no cocooning. There's no like the egg. So there is an egg, but when the egg hatches, it's a full formed tardigrade. Okay. Like there is no like stages, I guess. So it said mating.
Interesting creatures.
Mating included mutual stimulation that preceded semen ejaculation.
Well, I think all parties should be enjoying the experience.
Yeah, mutual stimulation. As the team described in the paper, the first step of the mating process is the female laying her eggs. Oh, so she lays her eggs first, and then he goes and inseminates them.
Well, what's he doing on top of her then?
Well, she has the eggs already.
Oh, they're inside her.
Yes, and then he's sperminating them and making them fertile.
Okay, so that's like humans.
Kind of like a chicken. Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
Well, they have eggs and then they get
I'm still trying to figure out how this whole chicken thing works.
I don't know. I feel like I spoke out of my competency.
I feel like that's a future topic because it's honest to God a mystery to me.
You should definitely have a chicken episode.
I don't understand where eggs come from at all.
I don't understand it either. That's a different day. So apparently tardigrades have a molting period where they shed their outer cuticle. The eggs are laid inside the outer layer of their cuticle, and then a male approaches, get in positions around her. This can take several minutes, as it does, and then when he's in the right spot
several minutes,
he ejaculates his semen via an opening above his anus into the female's outer layer of skin. Weird, which is what you can see happening in the foot. Weird. The fertilization actually happens outside of the female's body, but
under the skin.
So she has molted her skin and she's like still like in it, but there's like the molted
it's like
skin.
a shedded skin, like a snake, like it's still kind
so
of hanging on there.
So she put her eggs inside of that, is still kind of in it, and he spermulates inside of the skin shed.
That's a good place to keep your eggs, if you think about it.
So that team also found that if no mating occurred, the female reabsorbed their eggs. What? And the temperature that the animals was determined by how quickly the offspring ended up becoming adults. So then what she does is once they're sperminated, she then moves out of it and sheds the skin that just her skin with the eggs in it.
They're like little
the fertilized eggs. Yeah. It's like
so smart.
It's like if you started shedding your skin and somebody sperminated in between your skins, and then you stepped out of the skin and then there were eggs inside your old
there's
skin.
A little baby in there.
Just like that. Yeah, exactly.
Gone to get a rabbit skin to wrap the baby bunting in.
Aw, I don't know what that is.
It's fucking nursery rhyme, Macy.
It's weird.
Bye, baby bunting. Daddy's gone hunting. Going to get a rabbit skin to wrap the baby bunting in.
Never heard that
old days
in my entire life.
Okay. I'm going to go get another beer.
Okay. You do that. I'm going to wait.
Talk amongst yourself.
This is all really important. So you should just hurry. And I'm going to get a beer too. And then I'll just cut this part out.
I'm back. Where did you go? Macy, you disappeared. Did you disappear too?
Yeah.
Oh.
I decided I would just cut this part out.
Oh, okay.
I've been out for a while. So
don't forget.
I won't.
Because remember that time you forgot? And then it was us just talking about how we're going to cut that part out?
Yeah. Remind me if you can, but yeah. All right. Okay. So here we go.
Here we go.
So, like I mentioned, they have no childhood. They hatch fully formed, which I think is interesting because I don't think I know any other animal at all that is born fully formed.
Kangaroos, maybe?
Like literally in their adult form.
Oh, they're like done. They're fully cooked. Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. They don't need any mothering.
None. No. Mm-mm.
So parenting, I should say.
They have a larva stage as juveniles in which their bodies look dramatically different from those of adults. So they get like really chubby, but they don't. When they're born, they're adults. So when they're hatched, they look exactly like an adult tardigrade, just maybe like a little bit smaller. Molting occurs several times during their life, during which they shed their skin to accommodate the growing body, but they maintain the same body plan throughout their whole life. So like you don't get like all the gangly phase of like your legs are weird length.
And you have acne.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you smell weird.
They don't smell. I mean, actually, I don't know that.
My kids smelled different when they stopped being babies. They went
from
like
different?
like everything, when they're babies, like everything, like they just smell so good. You just smell them all over. You could eat them up. And then after they stop being babies and then turn into little kids, it's like, oh, okay, you're kind of funky,
stinky.
Like they would get like sweaty or and it was like different. I mean, I still loved them, but
yeah,
they were stinky.
But they're not as cool as tardigrades by any means. So tardigrades can survive exposure to extreme temperatures. So this also means boiling liquids. So you can't boil out a tardigrade, right?
What? So you can't kill them?
And pressures up to 6 times that of our ocean's deepest regions.
Are you trying to say that tardigrades are going to take over the world? Are they the new cockroach?
They've been around forever, so they're not new. Tardigrade survival superpowers go even further than this. They actually can survive in space.
What? Floating around in the vacuum?
So they can recover after facing unfiltered solar radiation and space's vacuum, adding them to an exclusive and very short list of organisms able to do so.
Interesting.
Right?
So that means they can travel around to different planets potentially.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they probably have to have a food source.
My guess is that if they can exist anywhere now, then my guess is they exist everywhere already.
What do they eat?
Like moss and little, like.
How long have they existed?
For a long time. Sorry. I think that's in here. If not, I'll look.
Are you having trouble with your mic?
Yeah, I don't understand what's fully happening. There's a wobble.
You have a wobble.
Okay, so they can survive in space. Dried out adult tardigrades and their eggs in 2 different species were exposed to space vacuums and radiation over 10 days at low Earth orbit. That's about 846,000 to 922,000 feet above sea level. And they were later resurrected, examined, and both were labeled as surviving very well.
And so they weren't eating during that time?
No.
So they can survive also without food for
they do. Yeah, they do that. They push every bit of water. They kind of look like a thin film of see-through paper. They push everything out.
Wow, it's kind of like water bear jerky.
Right. So they can also be frozen for decades and still reproduce after, like, decades. So we know that it doesn't like damage their insides at all.
Go team water bear. I want a shirt with one on it on the front.
A little water bear
with that like mouth.
Okay. They have also inspired a new type of glass.
What?
A new type of glass that could improve the efficiency of solar cells and LED lights owes its inspiration to tardigrades. So when these microscopic creatures expel all the water out, like we talked about in their ton state, special proteins that are only found in tardigrades turn the fluid inside of their cells into a glass-like substance, protecting the biological structure so then they can be rehydrated again and revived. So it's this thing,
so cool.
It's this thing that only happens with them. Researchers were really intrigued by this in 2015 and developed a glass material with a molecular structure that was highly organized, more akin to crystals than glass, but these oriented molecules could make glass more efficient at capturing and directing light, which could improve the performance of devices like optical fibers, LEDs, and solar cells. So they have some keys to improving things too.
Are tardigrades the key to everything?
So, I mean, really, they may outlive humanity, this planet, and possibly even the sun.
Well, I do think humans, by and large, are too addicted to water. And, you know, if in the future there's less water, maybe we can learn something from the tardigrades and how to live with less and be fine.
I mean, and like, when the curtain goes down at some point in our solar system, like tardigrades are going to have the last laugh because they're going to be on their little slimy feet.
They'll be flying around in space, all happy, humping. Yeah.
So a team of scientists considered a series of doomsday scenarios that would be catastrophic for humanity, including nearby supernovas, the expansion of our own sun to a giant red star, and a massive asteroid colliding with Earth.
Macy, stop. This is the shit that keeps me up at night.
Is it?
That's why I can't go to planetarium shows. It terrifies me. It's fucking terrifying. Like I will lay awake in my bed, eyes open, just waiting to die.
Oh my God. It's a little dark. You need to do like the tardigrade do. Just get squishy with it. So in all those scenarios, though, tardigrades were just fine. Confirming that when it comes to life on Earth, those that are close to indestructible as it gets, these guys are as close to indestructible as it gets, according to the researchers. So even if it happens, even if the planet's wiped out, we can at least take some solace that the tardigrades will somehow manage to come out on top, and that life as a whole, at least, will go on.
So I'm imagining Earth is obliterated, and I'm picturing billions of tardigrades just floating off into space.
Yeah.
Tumbling through space with their O mouths.
Yeah, with their little So, okay.
Oh, shit.
I looked up your other question real quick that I didn't have the answer to. So the oldest remains of modern tardigrades are those of Millennium swolinski, belonging to the living genus Millennium, known from a late Cretaceous age specimen in New Jersey amber that is around 90 million years old.
Holy fucking old
mic drop. I mean, like, how can you?
Your pronunciation was way better than my Irish attempt,
was it?
By the way.
I felt like I did pretty good. I just like really love all these like pictures of them with their little skin covers.
They're
squishy water
honestly
bears.
really cute.
They are cute. I would.
Can we make bigger ones?
Can we wait? You know how like you can buy sea monkeys, right? Can we buy tardigrades? Can I have tardigrade pets? Like my pets could live forever.
Did you used to do the sea monkey thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Were you ever disappointed that they weren't like the picture?
I was a little upset that it was less interesting than a fish. Yes. Yep.
What was the longest yours lived?
I don't even remember, actually.
Yeah, so probably not long.
Oh, here we go. So the lifespan of tardigrades ranges from 3 to 4 months up to 2 years. So they are having some frequent sexing, is my guess, to keep that species going.
Keeping it going.
No wonder, like, the second they thawed out, he started going at it. Huh.
I mean, that's really the secret to us getting a species going is you got to do the procreating.
I think the bisexuality piece is helpful too, because that helps them lay more eggs across different skin layers.
But do the males make eggs?
Hold on. I feel like I have to know all these things.
You need
like
to
it matters.
A tardigrade expert.
Okay.
I want a tardigrade stuffy. I want a tardigrade hat.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Okay.
In asexual reproduction, there are no males in some species of tardigrades. Therefore, they go under what's called a parentogenesis, where the females will lay eggs, which will develop without need of fertilization even.
Oh, fuck.
Dang.
So it's basically anything goes.
Yeah. Now I'm going to look up like tardigrade. It gets harder when you drink more. Tardigrade t-shirts.
I need one. No.
There's some good ones. Oh man. There's one that has a little floaty tardigrade that says survive.
Fuck yeah.
There's one that says water bear don't care.
Oh my god.
That's great.
I'm all in. Oh, look at how I have like writing on my hand.
Are you writing here?
No, this was like sometimes I write notes on my hand at work.
There you go.
Oh, so many choices, so little time.
That one has sunglasses. It's pretty cool. But I like the survive.
What are some lessons humanity can take from the tardigrade? Like, what are some
from our water bear?
What are some actionable things that we can take?
Like have as much sex with yourself or others as much as you can.
That's a good lesson.
I like that lesson.
And I do believe the water thing, because I mean, if you're not out exercising in the hot sun, like, do you need that much water?
Yeah, I feel like
I
that's like a
don't think
big,
so.
I think that's a big myth that gets pushed by somebody. Like who benefits from that?
I don't know, but humanity sure doesn't.
I really like this tardigrade floating through space one.
I drink some water when I get up. I mean, not a lot, but I have some because
Uh-huh.
sometimes, my throat's a little dry in the morning,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
usually do some yoga in the morning, so I need to have a little something in there.
Uh-huh.
And then I'll have tea, which is water.
Yeah, I drink a
So
lot of tea. I
you
do.
have to think, if you're having beverages or soups or fruits or vegetables, that's all fucking water. That's
Yeah, it's
water.
water.
So I have tea, a big thing of tea.
I have a
And
shirt for you.
then,
I have a shirt for you. It says water bear works well under pressure.
yes, yes. And then, in the afternoon, I'll have a kombucha. This is a typical Naomi day.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't really, if I'm not doing a sport or an exercise,
Well,
I'm
and
not having a lot of water.
I feel like my body tells me a lot of, like, if I feel like I'm dragging, like I'll go drink some water. Or if I feel like if I'm getting a headache, like, oh yeah, I should probably drink some water. Like I feel like my body communicates with me.
Yeah. And if I'm like out skating my ass off in the hot sun,
Oh
I'm
yeah, I'm
gonna be
drinking water.
drinking water.
I'm drinking water unless I'm not, because I make bad choices sometimes and
And
then
you
you have to
forget your
save me.
water.
But
Yes.
that's not for lack of wanting water. I'm literally like a dying person in a desert with no
Yeah.
water. Yeah.
No, I rescued you and you huddled in a bush on the side of the trail until I got back.
Nobody stopped.
Nobody stopped.
Nobody stopped to help me. And I was actually dying. It was the worst.
I think
Okay.
we need to be able to
Yeah.
survive in more situations too,
Well, I
temperature
mean,
wise, pressure wise.
people in general shouldn't survive in most cases, in my opinion. I mean, really, like, I don't know. There's a lot of people. I'm probably getting in trouble for this. There's a lot of people in this world that probably don't need to survive for generations and generations in space. And we can just maybe end some of those patterns early.
And I mean, if you believe in natural selection, like that should just shake itself out.
If you can't reproduce quickly, I mean, right there, like if you can't reproduce within 3 months, think about how many people would be just their genetics are gone that quick.
They're gone.
Yeah, which is really sad. But tis nature.
Tis the nature.
Tis the nature. What else?
I would like to be able to survive in a vacuum.
I feel like I would die in all those scenarios, which I not just feel like I would. So
no, I get anxious if I feel like I can't breathe. Like immediately. I'm like so anxious.
Yeah, if somebody even like puts a blanket over me and like pretends to like not let me out, that I will freak out.
If
not okay.
If I am away from my car or a hospital, I have to have my inhaler with me just as a security blanket.
So what you're saying is that neither of us are going to survive. Somebody else has to do this for us. I mean, I don't really want to only have a water bear for 3 months, but maybe it's what I do.
It's set up to 2 years.
Oh, that's certain species. That's right.
I think, you just accept that's its timeline.
You love like it lived a good life.
You make
See, I'm already emotionally attached to the thing I don't have.
You give it a good environment, and hope it makes babies. And, to tie into my topic, after it's gone, you tell stories to keep its memory alive.
Okay, so you can buy, if anyone's interested, you can buy live tardigrades from many
places. Send me the link.
There's a lot. Apparently Carolina.com has.
How do you keep them in like a fish tank or a shoebox?
So it says overall, we found that digital microscopes are completely unsuitable for looking at things so small as tardigrades.
Oh.
Okay, let me see here. So they recommend a compound microscope to look at your little doodles. You can see the legs and the face. It's a little tubular mouth hole. Yeah. You may even be able to see its little teeth as it's trying to grab.
Maybe that's what I'll be for Halloween.
A tardigrade.
I'll just walk around like this.
We got to put like some extra teeth in there, I think. So they often eat like algae and other carnivores eat meaty snacks.
Wait, what?
That are smaller than them. Small meaty snacks.
Ooh, tardigrade treats.
So it sounds like you can buy them, but like if you want to look at them, you have to put them under your microscope because they can live.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I want them to have a little castle with a little tunnel they can swim through.
I think I've developed a new hobby. I'm now, all right, I need to set this aside. I'm never going to get through this podcast. Okay.
Let's be tardigrade parents.
Tardigrade parents for life.
And we'll just give them messages about how to perpetuate.
Well, maybe we'll learn
Earth.
Something. Like, I mean, they have like those glass-like substance within their body that helps them be impenetrable.
That's just my bitchy attitude.
Yeah, you're okay. Well, until next time.
Fuck.
Water bear don't care.
If you get an opportunity to make a wish, always wish for 1,000 wishes.
Oh yeah, that's like a really good tip.
Always. Come on, people.
Is that not allowed though? Is that is that a genie rule?
No, it's a loophole.
It is a loophole.
Yeah. Or even better, unlimited wishes. Unlimited wishes.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Okay, until next time, find your loopholes. Bye.